So if I go down now,
Pins you in the back of your seat, doesn't it?
compared to
Whoa! There is a massive difference there, isn't there? Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got something really special and I'm with Ross and his amazing M2 Competition. So Ross, what an amazing car here. Tell us a little bit about it please, mate.
So I got the car back in 2023 with about 16,000 miles on it, and I was coming out of an L200, totally different beast altogether.
That is a big step up, man, yeah,
so,
for sure.
I wanted something that was wildly different from, with a lot more performance. L200 reasons very different for buying this, and I've loved it since I've had it. You know, I've loved every minute of ownership.
Excellent. And is this your first M car that you've had?
Yeah.
Bro, I've never driven an M car. I've only ever been in one. So as far as my experience today is concerned, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this is, man. Because obviously it's a far departure from my big old diesel X5 over there. How does it handle on the road? What's it like to drive?
Great. I don't know what I would replace it with if I had to replace it. So it's been great to me. Thoroughly enjoyed driving it. It's had a good few trips up north and out the back roads here. It handles extremely well. A couple of things that I've done just to try and help that have been replacement tyres since I got the car.
Okay.
It came on the Pilot Sports, which I didn't find were all that friendly in colder weather.
Which of course we're going to get here being in Scotland, man.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. But no, it's I would say it's probably one of the best cars I've ever owned and driven.
Excellent. So what size of wheels have you got on these? You were saying earlier on that you've had them powder coated and they're staggered setup. So what's the sizes on them, do you know?
Couldn't tell you.
Because they fill out that arch really well and they sit so just perfectly in. There's not too many gaps or anything. It's just such a nice setup that you've got here, man. And it's the S55 rather than the N55 that sets this apart from the standard M2, eh?
Yes, yeah. So yeah, the S55 engine, just that little bit more horsepower and common to the M3, M4 as well.
Yeah, well that's it. They've taken quite a few things from the M3, M4. They've taken the seats, these bigger brakes that you're telling me is potentially going to cost you a fortune when they come to replace them. And of course the beating heart of the car, the S55, because when they first released the M2, there was a lot of purists out there that got their haunches up because it didn't come with an S-derived engine. A lot of them didn't think that it was a proper M car because of it.
Power-wise, yeah, you know, putting side by side, you would no doubt notice it, but 360 versus 400, there's still plenty regardless.
Well, that's it, yeah. From what I've read, the N55 is very tunable, as is the S55. They're very capable of getting easily upwards of 500 brake horsepower from them, which for a car weighing, obviously depending on transmission choice, anywhere between 1,500 to 1,700 kilograms. So has this one got the DCT box then? Does the Competition only come with the DCT or do you get a manual option too?
Manual's an option, but very rare.
Right.
The DCT seems to be more popular or more common, but again, there's a big following for the manual as a result of it being less common,
of course,
particularly for track.
You're always going to get one that's available in lesser numbers and the one that the enthusiasts and purists are going to want to get more so than the other. But I would imagine that the automatic gearbox, it'll make it more usable. This is your daily driver. You're going to be able to use this a lot more. It's not a track focused car for you. So therefore,
not at all.
You'll be able to put it around the town, stick it into automatic mode, not be concerned about having to change gears, putting wear on our old legs here on our old knees. And when you want to kick the arse out of it, you stick it into manual mode and use the flappy paddles on the steering wheel. Yeah,
and there's various drive modes in the car as well, which really do change the dynamic. So running it in efficient mode, as it's called, it's not the most efficient regardless, but it's a lot more subdued. And then when you change into Sport or Sport Plus, you do notice a big difference just in the dynamic, the throttle response.
Brilliant. Well, hopefully we can get a nice clear road and I can experience that from both the passenger side and the driver's side. Because again, that is another thing that sets this car apart from the standard M2 is that you do get those switchable driving modes that makes the steering a little bit more responsive, likewise with the throttle and stuff as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that comes together as the whole package. So will we hit the road and see what it's like?
Sure, yeah.
Excellent, let's do it. Here we are in Ross's M2 Competition, and wow, what an incredible place to be. I'm actually overwhelmed by how much space there is. Not in the back, as we were talking about earlier on, there's not much space in the back, but we don't really buy cars to be putting people in the back of them. It's all about the driver experience, and the dashboard has that old BMW mentality of driver-focused positioning and all that sort of stuff. But how does it handle on the road? You were just talking through some of the different modes and stuff there, Ross. How does it feel behind the wheel?
Yeah, very positive, very planted. It can get skittish if you're not expecting it, particularly in wet. But you know, in Sport Plus, if the tyres are not warm and you're not quite ready for it, it can be quite skittish on acceleration. Through second, third. But you know, when you're ready for it, it's almost trusting the car just to do what it's going to do. It can get a bit squirmy, but it's never caused me any problems.
Do you find yourself turning off the driver aids, or do you tend to keep them on just to give you that additional peace of mind?
For a run out, generally speaking, I'll put it into MDM mode, which dials the traction control back about half. So you've still got something there to catch you if you need it.
Perfect, yeah.
But it does allow a little bit more slippage. It doesn't intervene quite so quickly. And it also just gives with the setup I've got on my M buttons, gives me the settings that I want and I'm used to.
Okay, brilliant, yeah. So what modes do you tend to drive it in then?
For day-to-day running, I'll use it in efficient mode, so fairly subdued gear change and easy everyday daily. If I'm out for a run, I've pre-programmed M2, which will give me manual gears, the most aggressive gear change and the best throttle response. Steering's on Sport rather than Sport Plus, so it's a bit heavier, but not too heavy. I find Sport Plus is quite heavy.
Yeah.
And what I noticed with that is it's just far more responsive. It's a bit more fun for back roads, B roads, a bit easier and a bit more confident for overtaking because you know where your downshift is.
Exactly, yeah. And from what this is an electronic steering that's in this rather than a hydraulic one. Certainly from doing my research, it seems that the Competition is a little bit lighter in the steering than the bog standard M2. So it's nice to know that you have that level of flexibility and control over how you want to refine your experience.
Yeah, I mean, these settings have been the same for the last couple of years now, but at the start it was a bit of trial and error, just figuring out what felt okay.
Of course, yeah.
And adapting to that as well.
And you were saying earlier on, you get around about 20 mile to the gallon in this thing then, yeah?
Yeah, if you're interested, about there, 20 to 25. Yeah. For me, I tend to just fill it up when it's empty. You know, it's not much of a concern, but generally speaking, for the type of car it is for day-to-day running, and most of my running about in the town, it's pretty reasonable.
Okay, and let's talk about those big M3, M4 brakes that are on this thing. How are they? I've heard they're very track focused, and it means that they can be a little bit catchy at slow speeds, or at least until they get up to temperature. What experiences have you had with the brakes? How are they, and ultimately, what are they like to use? Generally
speaking, they're good. Like you say, they can be quite grabby. I think when they're up to temperature, sometimes there could be a little bit more feedback from them, but you know, again, I've never had any issues with them not giving me enough stopping power.
Yeah, I would imagine that being an issue.
I think you could probably just add that a little bit more, just for a bit more confidence.
Excellent. And you were telling me earlier on, they're not cheap.
No, they're not. So, from memory, you're about £1,000 a pair for discs and pads. Fortunately, I've not burnt through too many. If I was tracking the car, it would be a fairly expensive hobby.
Have you considered tracking it, would you, or is that something that you're just not interested in?
I think I would. I certainly wouldn't do it on a new set of brakes. Probably towards the end of life of tyres and brakes.
Just as you're getting rid of them.
But yeah, it's something I'd consider. I mean, it'd be great fun to have it on track for sure.
I bet it would be absolutely amazing. Just the refinements that they've made to the Competition version over the standard one, the revisions to the chassis, the suspension, and of course those big brakes. I think it would just be a fantastically fun experience on the track.
You know, there's a huge following for them, for people that are using them purely for track or that are using them for track days. And with a few light upgrades and modifications to the brakes, some of the intakes, tyres, different sets of wheels, they can become really, really good in quick track cars.
And the thing is that if you're looking to go out and get yourself an M2 track car, people are going to go for the club sport more so than this really. If you're going for a track focused car, then that's the sort of the aim for most people who are going to be using it as a track day car.
Very few club sports around though, and I think in terms of accessibility, the OGs and the comp models are far easier to get your hands on, and as a result, the premium you pay for a club sport is quite significant as well. So these seem to be more the choice. Yeah, well that's it as well, is that the standard M2 you can pick up from anywhere from £20,000 to £25,000, and these upwards of £30,000 for an M car. And it's a fantastic introduction to an M car as well. It means that you don't have to compromise on an older model or whatever else. And the S55 engine in this, it just purrs, doesn't it? It's just such a refined engine that's in this. Yeah, very smooth. For day-to-day driving, it's not too bad. It can get a little bit lurchy when you go into manual mode. And it pins you into the back of your seat, which is what you want, doesn't it? But yeah, it's it's good fun. They're a bit lurchy in manual, first into second. At times, the gearbox is notorious for it. But once you know that that's going to be the case, you just shift in slightly differently. Right, okay, yeah. And do you find yourself using the flappy paddles on the steering rather than the sequential gear stick there? More often than not, yeah. Yeah, because BMW are one of the only companies that get the direction right, aren't they? Like down or up to go down and down to go up. That's what you would get or experience in a proper sequential gearbox that you get in a rally car. Yeah, so I've used it from time to time, but more often than not, it's the paddles I tend to shift with. And it just makes it all the much easier for daily driving it, as we were discussing earlier on. How does it feel in the corners? Is it a fairly composed car then? Yeah. Just not being too snatchy with the power. Oh, well that's it, is if you're sending 450, 60 brake horsepower to the rear wheels, then you've got to make sure that your right foot is doing what it needs to do. And while these cars are good, and it's what we were talking about earlier on with the driving aids, we're probably not as good drivers as we potentially think we are. Yeah, there's a lot of intervention from these aids for sure. And it's good that you've got that peace of mind, and if you were a better driver, being able to turn them off. But there are so many videos out there of the BMW M3, the newest one, is in some places getting likened to the Mustang. It's the European Mustang in some respects. People putting the foot down, that four-wheel drive X-Drive system catching people off guard, and they end up in a bloody ditch, which is ultimately the last thing you want with your pride and joy, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. It's taken a while to figure out the car, I guess, over the last couple of years, but also to respect it as well. That's it, exactly. I've said that on a couple of other videos. When you're pumping out that kind of power, you have to have a bit of respect for the car. You have to not only have respect for the car, but knowledge in your own limitations as well. Yeah, that's it. I do remember the first time I took my mum out in that Subaru Forester of mine. It was a 4-speed automatic, so it was either on or off. Yeah. There was no power or all the power. And I put the foot down coming off a roundabout, and it swung the back end out, and terrified the poor wee old woman. But that was the learning experience for me at that point. Is do not, if the wheels aren't straight, don't put the foot down. Yeah. But this has just got so much pickup, and you barely even feel the downshift, I've found, certainly on that slightly older gearbox of mine on the BMW, that, you feel the gear shifts, Yeah. Whereas this, they're quite, as you say, subdued. And it looks like the kind of car that you have a lot of fun driving in, Ross. Is that fair to say? Yeah, without a doubt. It's put a smile on my face more times than it's not. Excellent. And great for this kind of road, this kind of run. Excellent, man. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how it feels on the road back there. So will we swap over and drive back then? Yeah. Excellent. I'm looking forward to it, mate. It's going to be a hell of an experience. So here we are, guys. We are in comfort mode, essentially, efficient mode, and this is just what you would probably use if you were using it as a daily driver. It's not giving me too much, it's not giving me too little, but it's still giving me a nice feel of what this car really has
behind it and what it's capable of. And you tell me, Ross, you very rarely use this particular mode then, yeah?
So I use this for my sort of day-to-day stuff, but if I'm out for a run, generally, no, it'll be into something a little bit more angry.
Right, okay, well we'll experience that very shortly. I just wanted to see what the comparisons in default mode are compared to the more raw and aggressive M modes that this car will have. But it's very easy to drive on these roads in this mode, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know that you've still got plenty power. The steering, as you say, it's light, but I would definitely like to see how that then compares when you turn it into the other mode there. Once we get through the other 40 stretch further down the road, we'll swap it over. But it's quite a heavy car, actually. I thought it was going to feel a bit lighter. I suppose that's just one of the compromises that you have with more modern cars, isn't it?
Yeah, well, everything's gotten bigger, chunkier.
Yeah. But even just touching the throttle there, that was barely putting it halfway down. The car is just so capable. The steering, despite being light in this mode, is definitely responsive. And as you say, it sort of inspires confidence a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's never caused me too much of an issue. Maybe I've not been pushing it hard enough.
Well, that's the beauty of the track days. Jeezy peeps, even then, it's something else. But that's the beauty of the track days, isn't it? Is that you take them out and you get familiar with the car. Yeah. You get a far better understanding of not only its capabilities, but your capabilities and limitations.
Yeah.
I really like the dashboard on it, actually, the digital dash there. I'm normally a fan of analog dials, but they're just so clear and so crisp, and they tell you absolutely everything that you need to know, don't they?
Yeah, so there's also a couple of, in the central display, you can change the modes up. I tend to leave it at engine temperature, just so you know everything's where it needs to be before you give it a bit.
That's the main thing.
But there's a digital speedo there as well if you want for quicker viewing.
Does it give you any additional sort of like G readings or anything like that?
So on the infotainment system, there is sports displays.
Excellent.
There you go.
And that's what you want, yeah, brilliant.
Your torque in newton meters and power in kilowatts.
So you were saying push M2.
And again, just to confirm, that's you.
Oh wow, you feel that instant change in the composure of the car there. It's like, come on, let's go. And you're saying, if we use the flat bead panels, that'll change it over. It's got quite a lot of pickup even in the higher gears, doesn't it? But it just wants to go, man. It's like a feral cat. Yeah. It is, it just wants to go. And these brakes, you barely need to touch them to get what you need from them. The steering, wow, what a change in the directness of the steering when you put it into that mode. This particular section's rather bumpy, so we'll slow it down a bit, especially here. Do bounce around a little bit, but wow, just the car is just so eager to go and to please. How does it feel from the passenger seat? Yeah, very planted, again, confidence inspiring, and yeah, it's a nice place to be. It's quick. You can feel what's going on. You can, yeah. You feel everything through that chassis. You can feel it right through your bum and into your hips and everything. It's just very communicative. It tells you exactly what you need to do. And you know what? There's so much power that you very rarely need to go through most of the gears, eh?
Yeah, if you want to be aggressive, you're up and down. If not, it'll pull you through.
It's phenomenal. Just a change in the 6 years. Mine has the ZF 8-speed box, which is why I was asking earlier on if that's what was in it. But this is a 7-speed DCT that I believe is in this one.
Yeah, so the ZF box is in the M2 non-competition and the 240i. So they share the same gearbox.
Of course. So this one's just a bit of a step up then. But yeah, it's just the changing of the gear, it happens so quickly, so you barely even feel it.
Yeah, the DCT is referred to often as one of the best sort of gearboxes of its type.
It's amazing how much gearbox technology, especially for automatics, have improved over the last 10 to 15 years, or even the last 5 years. As soon as Audi introduced those double clutch setups, they've just gotten better and better ever since. Even on these terrible, terrible Scottish B roads that we've got here, there's very little play in the suspension. It's stiff, don't get me wrong, but you want that in a sports car. You want to be able to have the car telling you what it's about to do, what it wants to do, and when's it going to do it. It's absolutely lovely. And you see quite a lot of them. You were saying earlier on about just turning the traction control off and whatnot. And you see a lot of videos on the likes of YouTube and Instagram of these are burnout machines. People can do crazy burnouts in these. And
yeah, there's a lot of power. You know, you feel it when you're going through the gears. If you're heavy on the throttle, even on a day like this when the tyres are warm, you can feel it. Not struggling for grip, but you know, you can feel the tyres working.
Yeah, and how have you were saying earlier on it can get a little bit squirrely. Have you ever had any arse out action in it?
No, not intentionally, no. But you know, generally speaking, once everything's warmed up on a decent dry day, I've never had any issues, even if you are quite hard.
Yeah. My Mark 1 MX-5 was the most fun that you can have at 15 miles an hour, Ross. You could go round a roundabout, wee Scandi flick, blip of the throttle and kick the arse of that thing out. And it was so composed. You could catch it and just drift all the way sideways round the roundabout, and it was just so much fun. But that was a very cheap car, so it wasn't so bad if it was to go wrong, man. Whereas this is obviously a lot more expensive. How much were you for this when you purchased it back in 2023 you said?
Yeah, 23. I think I paid 38 there or thereabouts for it.
Wow, okay. And how many miles that had it done by that point? What was the mileage?
16,000 miles.
So
really low.
Barely off the showroom floor. Yeah. I'm impressed with how just responsive it is, the responsiveness to and because it gives you the beauty of being able to do both the manual and the automatic when you want to, you can forget about potentially riding the revs and whatever else, because if it senses you doing that, it will eventually swap up itself.
Yeah. In manual, you're in control, and you know, if you want to even put it in automatic with the gearbox dialed up, so it's a much longer or higher change, then yeah, it'll do it for you.
Let's give it a bit of a spirited.
So actually picking up from third.
And yeah, that corner you can get somewhere, you can hit that at 60 miles an hour, no problem at all, and this just has so much more to give. There's always a tractor somewhere.
Yep.
Always a tractor somewhere. But yeah, this has just got so much more to give, and the levels of grip, at no point does it feel that the chassis wants to kick out. It's incredibly composed. It pivots on a dime. Silly place to stop.
Right.
But even then, just the overtaking power that you've got with this is, you're not going to get stuck behind anything in this for any length of time, really, are you?
When I first got it, you're unsure as to what you're capable of, and very quickly realised that it's, you know, the car will do what you want it to do.
Yeah, well that's it. I've barely scratched the surface of what this car is capable of. Obviously, out of respect for the car, and out of respect for the fact that it's not mine, and it is a lot of power on a very expensive car. But just, I'm bowled over at what have I not experienced with this car, where at my own, I would definitely think that it would take a bit of time to get accustomed to the extent of what this car would offer.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I think every time I go out for a run, it takes you the first 20 minutes, half an hour, just to remind yourself of how it drives.
Yeah, just to get acclimatised.
Compared to driving 5 miles a day into town. You know?
Well, that's it. If you're just going purely up to your work, and let's talk a little bit about your work actually. So, you own a company called Detailing, and you and I are going to do a bit of work together shortly, aren't we? So tell us a little bit about Detailing, what it is you do.
So I started the business just over 7 years ago, and specialise in paint correction, enhancement, coatings, light restorations and paint protection film. So the business has grown organically over the last 7 years with very little advertising.
Brilliant.
And I would say it's more of a hobby and a passion than a job.
And hey, if you can get paid for it, then why not?
Yeah,
man, eh?
Absolutely. So yeah, it's been great. I love it, and I don't know what else I would do. I don't think it would change it.
You found your calling then?
I would like to think so, yeah.
Excellent, and it's fantastic that you've managed, because it's some unit you've got there. We had a brief look round it a few months ago when we were first discussing the work that you and I are going to do. So what is it that you and I are going to be doing? My car is going to be going in for a respray, but once it's had that, I'm going to be sending off to yourself. What's your plans with it, Ross?
So we PPF on the more exposed areas, to the front and the sills, and then a bit of correctional work just to get the paint looking as sharp as it can do. The guys who are doing the paintwork are fantastic. Just a little bit of fettling after that to get it up to where it can be.
Yeah,
unlock the potential.
Definitely, as we discussed when we caught up, just the road rash on those bits that you're going to be focusing on, it just really brings the car down, and ultimately clearly a point where they're going to get damaged. So any work that you can do to help mitigate the stone chips and all that sort of stuff is definitely going to be a welcome addition. And hopefully what I'm going to be able to do is get a little bit of an insider video of that, so we can get a bit of advertising for yourself, and ultimately I can learn a little bit about the experience. I can shadow you for a bit.
Yeah, well, that's it. Give you an insight into the process. You know, I'm big on sharing the process with people as well, because
that'll be exciting.
It's great passing a car to me in one state and picking it up in another, but it's the bit that happens in between that's the most interesting.
Of course, yeah. Wow, guys, absolutely blown away. Ross, what an experience that was. Thank you very much for giving me my first M experience, and I feel like I've barely scratched the surface of what these cars can offer. The engine, the steering, the brakes in particular, it just wants so much more than I gave it, and it was nice to be in the passenger seat while you gave it a little bit more beans than I did. I certainly wanted to be a little bit more reserved, because I was just aware of what a potential monster this car could be, and it's been an exquisite experience. I hope you've enjoyed yourself as much as I have.
Yeah, we've had, well, great roads, great weather, so yeah.
That's it, can't complain, especially with the weather like this. So yeah, thank you very much for taking the time today to let me out in this and experience my first proper M car. So guys, if you've liked today's video, make sure to call shotgun on the next one by liking this video and subscribing to the channel, and we'll make sure to put you in the passenger seat of the next one. All the best, and thanks for watching. Nice one, man. Hell of an experience, mate.
Good.
Loved it.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Brilliant.